Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Hey there! Just a quick heads up. I am not much of a storyteller, but this tale is something else. So sit back and let me regale you with the saga of the entitled Karen I encountered at Walmart. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let me give you some context. You see, I'm not in the best of health. I've got this genetic joint deterioration thing going on, kind of like arthritis but with a generous serving of never-ending pain. To top it off, I've had 2 back surgeries and I rely on a trusty cane to get around. Alright, let's get into it. It was the eve of Thanksgiving and my brother and I were on a mission to grab some last-minute supplies for our family gatherings. You know, pumpkin pie, seasonings, snacks, and all that good stuff. I had my cane in hand navigating the aisles while my brother pushed the cart. I prefer not to use those motorized carts. I feel like there are folks out there who need them more than I do, unless I'm having a really bad pain day. I do my best to stay on my own 2 feet. And that's when it all started, folks. Enter the entitled boy, a sprightly lad of maybe 7 to 10 years old. As I was making my way, the entitled brat sidled up to me, eyeing my cane with intrigue. He chimed in, "That's a nice stick." I looked down at him and smiled. "Thank you, but it's a cane, not a stick." He returned a smile. "Can I have it?" Now, my cane wasn't just an old walking stick, it was handcrafted and made especially for me by my now departed best friend. Crafted from cherry wood, it sported intricate Celtic designs all the way down and featured a special rubber tip. It held sentimental value beyond words. I replied kindly, "I'm sorry, but it's not a toy, and I needed to walk." The kid's smile faded and he walked away. Little did I know that this encounter was just the tip of the iceberg. About 5 minutes later, I hear a rather irritating "excuse me," and I turn to my right and was met with the sight of the most horrifying Karen I'd ever laid eyes on. Our entitled Karen, complete with the infamous "can I speak to your manager" haircut and a scowl that could curdle milk. She began her tirade. "Did you just tell my son he couldn't have your cane?" I replied, "That's correct." She interrupted me. "That's just a prop. It's not a real cane. Let my son have it." Clearing my throat, I explained, "Ma'am, this is a specially designed medical cane specifically made for me to help me walk. It was crafted by a dear friend of mine." But she interrupted me yet again. "Don't lie to me. I've seen medical canes, and I know that's not one. Now give it here." My brother saw this escalating and decided to step in. He took the cart and I retreated to a different aisle. After some time, my brother caught up with me and reported that the entitled Karen had left. I thought that was the end of it, but boy was I wrong. About 5 to 10 minutes later, without any warning, I felt the fridge had collided with my backside. I was sent flying into a Christmas display, and as I lay there in a heap, the entitled Karen was making a beeline for my precious cane. I was in excruciating pain, struggling to suppress a howl of agony. My brother, on the other hand, wasn't having it. He pushed her back into the main aisle, and she landed roughly on her rear end. Cue the howling and screaming. Karen was now loudly proclaiming that we had assaulted her. Meanwhile, I was still struggling to regain my composure, my pain levels off the charts. A helpful Walmart employee rushed over to check on me, but the entitled Karen had already garnered a crowd of sympathizers, all convinced that we were the villains in the story. I couldn't speak, still grappling with the overwhelming pain. However, my brother was a rock. He calmly explained the situation to the Walmart manager, Walmart security, and the ever-helpful Walmart employee. In the midst of all this, the entitled Karen continued to spin her yarns one after the other. Eventually, the police and paramedics arrived to assess the situation. I was finally starting to regain my senses, so I was far from comfortable. The paramedics were checking me out while the entitled Karen, well, she needed more than just a medical check. She seemed like she could use a dose of common sense and decency. A police officer and the Walmart security guard took a trip to the back to review the store security cameras. When they returned, the entitled Karen was still in full-blown meltdown mode, screeching, "Arrest them! Arrest those horrible men for what they did to me and my boy!" The police officer approached me as I lay on a stretcher. "Do you wish to press charges?" he asked. And that's when the entitled Karen decided to make a run for it, leaving her bewildered kid behind. She bolted for the exit, but her escape plan was foiled when the security guard and the police tackled her in the parking lot. Back inside, the Walmart manager and employee insisted on paying for my groceries and reiterated that they didn't condone Karen's behavior. As far as employees go, they deserve the standing ovation for their top-notch customer service. I was eventually loaded into the back of an ambulance. Medically, I was okay, though I was left with a throbbing backside and a lingering sense of disbelief. As the ambulance pulled away, I could still hear Karen wailing at the top of her lungs in a police cruiser. She kept screaming, "I was assaulted!" I also would like to point out that medically I'm okay, however, please, for the love of God, if you're reading this, don't ever act like this to a person or to other people. Hello there fellas, let me tell you a little story about something that happens to my fiancé and me more often than you'd expect. You see, my fiancé has a condition called paresthesia neurological, a fancy name for a rare neurological issue caused by not one but two nasty car accidents. This condition makes it quite painful and challenging for her to walk long distances. However, her disability isn't always visible. And that's when we often run into what I call the disability police. It all started on a regular grocery shopping day. We live in a little Cape Cod town where everyone seems to know everyone else. We frequent a local supermarket with powered scooters available for shoppers, and it's a real lifesaver for my fiancé. On this particular day, I parked our car in a marked disabled parking spot, as we always do, with our disabled parking tag proudly hanging from the rear-view mirror. I got out of the car and began my routine of opening the passenger door for my fiancé. As I helped her out of the car, we heard a loud and accusatory voice behind us. "You're not disabled. You can't park in that disabled parking spot." So I turned to see a woman, presumably in her 50s, standing there with an angry scowl on her face. She was the embodiment of what I'd come to call the disability police. These self-appointed vigilantes feel the need to pass judgment on anyone they believe doesn't fit their narrow view of disability. My fiancé, who had just stepped out of the car, gave me a wary smile and whispered, "Here we go again, Dave." I nodded, trying to keep my cool. "Ma'am, my fiancé has a disability, but we have a valid parking tag. Her condition isn't always obvious." The woman seemed to ignore my words entirely. She pointed at me and continued her tirade. "I saw you walk into the store without any problem." This was the same old song and dance. The disability police often seem to believe that if they couldn't see a visible disability, it didn't exist. I decided to ignore her and focused on getting my fiancé settled into one of the scooters. I knew from experience that engaging with these people often led nowhere. As I wheeled the scooter out of the store and toward our car, the woman started to follow us, her voice growing louder. I could feel my frustration building, but I kept my composure. We've been through this before and we had a system in place for handling these situations. I parked the scooter next to our car, turned to my fiancée, and told her to stay in the car. She gave me a reassuring nod as I saw a police car pulling up. The disability policewoman continued her rant to the approaching officer. "Officer, this man took one of the scooters for disabled people. He's trying to steal it." The officer, a friendly face we'd come to know in our small town, approached our car. He looked inside, recognized my fiancé and said, "Hi X, thanks for the cookies you brought to the police station last week. We really loved them." My fiancée loved to bake and cook, and she often prepared cookies and brownies to show her appreciation for our local police officers and firefighters. She didn't see it as a big deal, she just considered it being a good neighbor and realized that these folks didn't receive hefty salaries and deserved some appreciation. The disability police woman's mouth dropped open in disbelief. She clearly hadn't expected the officer to greet my fiancé by name, let alone thank her for the cookies. The officer then helped her out of the car and onto the scooter. She looked like a child caught misbehaving, ready to crawl into a hole and disappear. The officer turned to her and in a tone reminiscent of scolding a misbehaving child said, "Miss, I suggest you go somewhere else. Mind your own business and stop harassing my friends." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving the woman to stew in her embarrassment. She got into her car and drove off, defeated. My fiancé and I exchanged a look, and I couldn't help but chuckle. And that's how we once again encountered the disability police and how a batch of cookies managed to sweeten up the situation. Around Christmas time, I decided to treat myself to a brand new motorcycle. I've been eyeing one for years and it felt like the perfect time to finally make that dream come true. I figured I'd use one of my unused credit cards for all the gear, gas, and other expenses that come with owning a motorcycle. Little did I know that my Christmas surprise would turn into a thrilling adventure, one that I couldn't have predicted. I made a few online charges from reputable retailers to get all the necessary gear and prepared for an epic 900-mile road trip. Everything seemed perfect until about a week after my trip. I received a fraud alert from Bank of America. The text messages detailed the last 5 charges, all of them from a gas station. At first, I wasn't too concerned since I had indeed made those charges during my trip. However, the next day I received a call from Bank of America's fraud department. "Hello? This is Lisa from Bank of America's fraud department. We noticed some unusual activity on your credit card account. Can you verify these charges totaling $2,100? Lisa inquired. My heart skipped a beat. $2,100? That's impossible. I couldn't make those charges on my motorcycle trip, I replied, my voice filled with anxiety. Lisa calmly assured me, I understand your concern, sir. We'll investigate this immediately and get back to you. Thankfully, they refunded the disputed amount, and they also contacted the 2 retailers involved. They issued me a new credit card, and I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that the matter had been resolved. I was almost certain that I'd encountered a credit card skimmer at one of those gas stations. However, just when I thought the ordeal was behind me, about a month later, another suspicious charge appeared on my credit card statement. It seemed that some retailers had a Visa agreement that allowed them to force charges through, even with old credit card numbers. Frustration bubbled up within me as I realized I wasn't out of the wood yet. Determined to uncover the truth, I called the first retailer, which we will call Retailer 1. The automated system recognized my phone number and greeted me with familiarity. This was strange since I had never even heard of this company before. It wasn't my name that the automated system addressed, and I had owned my phone number for over 12 years. With a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, I decided to dive deeper. I asked the automated system to provide me with an order history. And lo and behold, the date and purchase amount matched exactly what was on my credit card statement. I decided to speak to a live operator to verify the shipping address since I claimed I never received the order. The shipping address turned out to be linked to a specific country importer. This raised further suspicions in my mind. It became apparent that something fishy was going on, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it yet. Then a realization hit me like a bolt of lightning. Skimmers do not have the capability to obtain a phone number from a magnetic strip on a credit card. That narrowed down the list of suspicious transactions to 2 that I had made over the phone. One was with Geico, and the other was with a motorcycle parts company, which we will call Motorcycle Parts Company or MPC for short. I decided to call retailer number 2, which was MPC, based out of New Jersey. Coincidentally, the shipping address for the fraudulent charges. I didn't beat around the bush. I was straightforward with the operator about why I was calling. Listen, I said firmly. I believe someone used my credit card to make unauthorized charges with your company. I need information about the transaction, specifically the phone number used. The operator, a bit taken aback, complied with my request and provided the phone number. It had a New Jersey area code. Armed with this new information, I conducted a reverse lookup of the number. Finally, I had a name to connect to the thief. Excitement coursed through me as I continued my investigation. I managed to find her on LinkedIn, and her profile listed MPC as her employer. I was getting closer to unraveling the mystery, and it was clear that this entitled fraudster was about to meet her match. The next step was to call MPC, and as luck would have it, she answered the phone again. I asked to speak to a manager, but the operator informed me that he was conveniently out of town. She took down my callback number and left a note for him. I didn't give up that easily. The following week, I called again. Once again, she picked up the phone. This time, I was told that the manager was in a meeting. It was becoming evident that she was recognizing my phone number and deliberately screening my calls. Undeterred, I decided to take a different approach. I obtained a Google Voice number and set my location to Alabama. With my best deep southern accent, I called again around 4 p.m. Hey there, sugar. I was talking to the manager earlier and we got disconnected, bless her heart. Could y'all patch me through to him again? And to my delight, she agreed. And I finally managed to get a hold of the manager. I laid out my case and presented the evidence I had gathered. He seemed genuinely shaken and betrayed. It turned out that the thief was none other than a customer service manager. He assured me, I will handle this internally and she won't be a problem anymore. Feeling a sense of triumph, I knew that justice was finally being served. The manager informed me that he would let her go the next morning after she confessed to the fraudulent activities. It was a small victory, but one that meant a lot to me. With the internal matter resolved at MPC, I decided it was time to involve the authorities. I headed down to my local police department to file a report, armed with all the evidence I had collected. The detective on duty raised an eyebrow when I presented my case. Wow, you've practically handed her to us on a silver platter, she remarked. She took my statement and all the evidence I had gathered and informed me that she would forward it to the appropriate New Jersey precinct so they could file charges against the fraudster. Over the next few weeks, I eagerly awaited updates from the police and the legal system. It was a bizarre turn of events from my simple desire to enjoy my new motorcycle in peace during the holiday season. As the legal process unfolded, I received a call from the detective in charge of the case. She informed me that the fraudster had been arrested and was facing multiple charges related to credit card fraud and identity theft. Her crimes had not only targeted me, but potentially many others as well. I have always been good with money and I'm careful with it. I also inherited a good chunk, to be fair, and I was able to retire last year fairly early as these things go. I am not married and have no children. My sister-in-law asked me to help with her daughter's wedding. This is my brother's stepdaughter. There is no blood relationship. I suppose she is not really my niece, but they call me her uncle. I initially told him I would help, and I was thinking maybe $1,000 or so. I was going to give the same amount as a wedding gift, but they did not know that, so they started booking things and asked if I could give them $15,000. Yes, I could, I just don't want to. I will give $1,000. My sister-in-law started pressuring me for more, and I said no. $1,000 was a nice contribution for a step-uncle, for lack of a better term. She then got angry and called me names and all of that. And this is where I might be a jerk. I told her that the offer of any money is rescinded. I would not give a cent, not attend the wedding, and not give a gift. She called me a jerk and all sorts of other things. My brother called me and apologized for his wife and asked if I would consider $5,000. I told him that I loved him but did not like his wife and that my decision to give nothing stands. He then joined the jerk chorus. Am I the jerk for rescinding my offer to $1,000? And now some comments on a post. Someone saying, not that jerk. Yeah, calling you names was a genius way to get you to contribute more money. I don't blame you for not giving anything at this point. They are acting so entitled to your money. But just because you have money to spend doesn't mean you have to spend it on them. Another commenter adds, I personally would donate $5,000 to charity in their name. Then they will get a nice thank you note. Win-win situation. Not bad, jerk. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.